I'm Kent and you're watching Weekend Adventure Rides. This week we're going to tear apart the front end on the Harley Sportster. We're going to trim off the fender mounts from the fork legs. We're also going to trim the headlight mount up here and kind of clean everything up, get it ready for powder coating. Okay, let's talk about some tools we're going to need to do this job. And just going from left to right here, I'm going to use an orbital sander with 100 grit sandpaper. I'm going to use a 4.5 inch angle grinder. This one has a 120 grit flap disc. I'm also going to use an 1/8 inch cutoff disc. You can see this one is well used. And then you're going to want a soft impact hammer. This is a dead blow hammer. It works fine. Then we have a 5/16 Allen key. I like the ones that hook onto the sockets. You're gonna need a T45 star bit, a 12-point 10mm, 3/4 inch socket, and then a 15/16 socket. And I like to use 1/2 inch wrenches, and then I adapt down to 3/8 with this little adapter here. I like to use both a stubby wrench and then a regular size wrench. Then I have this 4-inch extender, as well as a 9/16 box end wrench here. All right, we'll start out with these brake calipers. Now I already have the lines disconnected, so these will just come right off. Using the 10mm 12-point socket, get these bolts off. Then I always put the bolts back into the brake caliper so we know where everything goes. There's some fluid kind of leaking out there, that's all right. And then going over to the other side, I'll do the same thing. Okay, now we'll carry on with this axle nut. Now the set screw on the other side is still tight, so I'll be able to turn this off. 3/4 inch socket. So we'll pull the nut and then this lock washer. Okay, carrying on, 9/16 wrench, 5/16 hex here. Get that set, and then we'll just turn this nut off the back. Okay, and then putting all those back together. Washer, lock washer, nut. Okay, now I have the bike supported on these blocks here and tied down so that there's no pressure up here on the front end. So I'm going to loosen up our tire clamp. So then we're going to knock our bolt out here, axle bolt. All right, using a soft hammer, impact hammer, I'm going to knock the axle out. I'm going to go ahead and pull that all the way through. And then you're going to have a washer, a wheel spacer, and then a wheel spacer on the other side. Okay, and then our full axle assembly here. Put that back together in the correct order. Now I can just roll my tire out, tire and wheel, and we'll set that aside for now. So now with the front tire off, we're going to pull these pinch bolts out here and then slide our forks out. So these pinch bolts are a T45. Okay, and once those are loose, you can see the fork just wants to slide out. Okay, and then I'm going to set that over on the bench. Okay, forks off. We're gonna go ahead and pull the whole triple clamp out. That way we can get to this top clamp here. So first thing, we're gonna loosen up this pinch bolt here at the top. Again, T45. Don't need to take this all the way out. Okay, and then bolt at the top, looks like it's a 15/16. And you want to support the lower part of the triple clamp as it comes loose so it doesn't fall. Okay, and then all the way out there. Okay, so I've got the first fork leg in the clamp. This is the right side here. Now we only want to cut off these mounts for the fender. So I don't want to cause any damage to the leg here itself, or certainly not these brake attachments here. So I'm going to take a little tape and kind of mark off where I'm going to be cutting, just to protect these. Looks pretty good there. So I'm going to use an 1/8 inch cutoff wheel to do our initial cut, and then I'll switch over to this sanding disc or grinding disc on the grinder, and we'll continue on. All right, as we cut this off, we're going to do it in small sections. We don't want to try to cut the whole thing off all at once. We don't want to cause any damage to this fork leg. This is already thin as it is, so we just want to keep it smooth there. So we'll just start making a few cuts on here. Okay, that looks pretty good on this side. I'm going to flip it over, we'll do the other side. All right, now we'll cut off this other one. Okay, I'm going to use a 120 grit sanding disc, flap disc, and start with that. I do have the duct tape on there to kind of protect it a little bit. Let me know if I accidentally touch one of those surfaces. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna flip it over for the other side. I'm gonna pull the tape off here. Okay, now I'm just gonna use an orbital sander for this part. So because this has a flat surface, we'll be able to get all of those kind of high spots out. This is a 100 grit. All right, that looks pretty dang good. Let's flip it again. Just gonna do a 90-degree here. Okay, so we have this one sanded with some 100 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna go over this with some 200 and then 300, kind of finish it all up. So we'll carry on, and I'm not gonna show the other side because it would be redundant. It's exactly the same scenario, but let's do the top of the triple clamp and get rid of the headlight bracket. Okay, top of the triple clamp. So we've got these two headlight brackets. Now I've moved, in a previous video, I built another bracket that actually attaches to these bolts here. I don't like these just kind of hanging out on there. I think it's going to clean it up a lot to get rid of these. So we'll put this in the vise. We'll cut these off with the 1/8 inch cutoff wheel, and then we'll get going with the flap disc again and get these cleaned up. And then I'm also going to get rid of these casting marks here as well. And then we'll get this sanded. I'll actually get this powder coated. This will be one of those things that goes along with all of the other stuff that I've fabricated that needs to go to powder coat. All right, got those trimmed off. Now I'm gonna go with the sander and just get them kind of smoothed out just a little bit here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, there we go. So once they sandblast this, it'll clean that surface up and then put the powder coat on there and be like they were never there. All right, so that's it for this week on Weekend Adventure Rides. We got these fork legs shaved. We got this top of the triple shaved. Everything's looking nice and smooth here. No gouges in those fork legs. So I think this is gonna look really nice. I am going to disassemble these and take them in and get them powder coated black so that they'll match all the rest of the parts we're gonna powder coat. So thanks for watching this week, and we'll see you next week on Weekend Adventure Rides.